After the 2 independent speaking tasks, you'll immediately begin the 4 integrated speaking tasks. For task 3 and 4, you'll see short readings on the screen. You have 45 seconds to read the material and to make notes. You'll then see a photograph on the screen and you'll hear a conversation or a lecture or classroom discussion in your headphones. For each integrated speaking question on the TOEFL, you'll listen to a conversational lecture. So you must listen for the major points or for details that support these points and must take good notes about this key information because you'll be required to speak about it. You'll have 60 seconds to speak in response to each of the 2 integrated reading, listening, speaking questions, and your responses should include key information from the conversation or from the lecture and the reading that will answer the question completely. Now, the reading, listening, speaking tasks don't ask for your opinion about the topic, so for these tasks, your opinion is totally irrelevant and should not be included. Your responses should be based on only what you have just read and heard. Now, each reading, listening, speaking task requires you to do more than one thing. For instance, it may ask you to 1. State an opinion expressed in a conversation, and 2. Summarize the reasons the speaker gives for supporting that opinion. Or it may ask you to describe something a professor discusses and explain how this relates to information in the reading. You'll have to address each part of the question. Now, to be more specific, task 3 involves getting ideas and details from 2 sources of information. First, you'll be asked to read a short written announcement directed at students and related to university life. It might be a notice in a campus newspaper, part of a letter, a memo, an email sent to students, or a sign on a bulletin board. These notices are often about new regulations or policies or changes in existing regulations or policies. You'll have 45 seconds in which to read the passage and you may take notes. After you've read this announcement, you'll hear a conversation in which 2 students discuss the announcement, and this conversation lasts from 60 to 80 seconds approximately. You'll be asked what one student thinks of the announcement, and again, you may take notes on what's said. You'll then have 30 seconds to prepare your response and 60 seconds to give it. Now, while you're preparing and giving your response, you'll see the question, but not the reading. However, you can refer to your notes, which you may take while listening or while reading. And after this, you see a message on the screen telling you to get ready, and then you'll see a question based on the reading and the lecture. You have 30 seconds in which to prepare your response, and in those 30 seconds, you'll hear a beep, and you have 1 minute right after to give a response. An on-screen clock keeps track of time, and another beep tells you that your time is up. You don't have enough time to give a complete report on the lectures and readings, so you must give a shortened version of the information that you read and hear. In other words, you have to summarize. By taking good notes, you'll automatically be creating a summary because the basic idea of note-taking is to write down only the most important information. Avoid using exactly the same language that you read and hear, and instead report information from the reading and lectures in your own words. In other words, you must paraphrase the language of the sources. Again, by using your notes, you will automatically be paraphrasing because you probably will not copy down information in your notes word for word. It's also important that you cite information that you're reporting. The author informs us that, the male student says that, or according to the lecture. Especially in tasks 3 and 4, the language of citation is needed to tell your listeners if an idea comes from the written material or the spoken material. In tasks 3 and 4, you need to connect the readings and the lecture conversations. In other words, you need to synthesize information from the two sources. And there should be a balance between ideas that you take from the reading and ideas that you take from the lecture or conversation. You also have to show the relationship between the ideas from the two sources. Like the announcement says that students must do X, but Marie or the female student does not agree with the policy. See the connection. It's important to take accurate notes on both the readings and the listening material. The readings don't appear on the screen when you give your response, so you have to use your notes. And you should use the same process in taking notes for the speaking task as you used in the listening section. Write down only key ideas and use short forms and abbreviations whenever possible.